What if I told you that earning your entire yearly salary every single month is not only possible, but easier than you think? Not with luck, not with a flashy app, but by doing what others ignore. Buying boring businesses, leveraging other people's time, playing smart arbitrage, spotting hidden money flows, and repeating one profitable play over and over. You've been sold the hustle myth, but freedom doesn't live in overwork. It lives in ownership. This isn't about working harder, it's about thinking differently. The people making 12 months of income in 30 days aren't special. They just know something you don't. Yet, MLS people have been sold a lie. They've been taught to believe the only path to income is through effort, through hard work, through time. Work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year for 40 years. Save a little, invest a little, retire at 65. That's the script. And if you try to deviate from it, people look at you like you're insane. But here's what they're not telling you. The fastest way to wealth is not by working harder. It's by owning what pays you whether you show up or not. I stopped asking how to make more money with my time, and I started asking what I could own that already makes money. What already exists, is already functioning, is already cash flowing, just without me in it yet. That simple shift in thinking is what changes the game. Because if your income only flows when you do, you've created a ceiling. Your day only has so many hours. Your body can only take so much. Your attention can only stretch so far. That's a finite game. And I don't play finite games. The people who make in a month what others make in a year, they aren't smarter. They aren't working 10x harder. They've just stepped into a completely different system, the one where money works harder than they do. They own the asset. They don't rent their life out to it. And here's the wild part. The system is out there. It's not hidden. It's just ignored by people chasing shiny objects or stuck in fear. And sometimes all it takes is one cash flowing asset to wake you up. The first time I bought a business, it wasn't sexy. It wasn't glamorous. It didn't come with headlines or a press release, but every month, like clockwork, it deposited money into my account. It didn't care if I was sick. It didn't care if I was on vacation. It didn't care if I was in a bad mood or if my to-do list was overflowing. It just worked. That's when it clicked. I realized this is how the rich operate. They don't sell time. They buy income. Those people are so busy being the labor, they never think to become the owner. They're too tired to think clearly after a long workday. They're drowning in emails, in meetings, in doing. But you can't build freedom while staying stuck in a system designed to keep you busy. The moment you realize time is your most precious asset, you stop giving it away so cheaply. You start asking how to build a machine that pays you even when you're not touching it. Now, here's where people get stuck. They think they need millions to start. They think ownership is for the already wealthy. That's another lie. You don't need millions. You need a mindset shift and some courage. You can buy small businesses with seller financing. You can partner with operators. You can start with a tiny, boring deal and scale it. You can get paid while you learn. I've seen it happen. I've helped people make it happen. The ones who win aren't the ones with the fanciest degrees. They're the ones who take action on the knowledge that's already out there. This is not about being reckless. It's about being resourceful. It's about looking at the landscape of your life and realizing there are ways to insert yourself into the cash flow equation without becoming another cog in someone else's wheel. Once you start thinking like an owner, everything changes. You start to value your time differently. You ask better questions. You build better systems. You become intentional about your income. And when your income is intentional, it becomes scalable. So here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're still only making money when you show up to work, you're stuck in an outdated formula. The new formula is this: own something that pays you even when you sleep. Buy the cash flow, acquire the income, trade your time-based dollars for ownership-based dollars. Because the goal isn't just to get rich, the goal is to get free. And freedom isn't earned by the hour, it's owned, bought, and built by design. If you understand this, if you act on it, then yes, earning your yearly salary every single month becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Everybody wants to be the next tech genius. Build an app, launch a SaaS product, raise a few million in venture capital, get written up in Forbes. That's the dream, right? But let me ask you something. How many apps do you think actually make it? How many of those high growth startups go to zero quietly after the hype fades? How many of their founders are sitting in silent panic, bleeding cash, watching their brilliant idea turn into a slow motion implosion, spin into ignorance, and blow themselves up? That's the reality that all of us face and many are aware of. Now compare that to the dry cleaner down the street. Been there 20 years. No social media, no press releases, no pitch deck, just repeat customers, steady foot traffic, and a cash register that doesn't lie. Or the laundromat that people drive past every day without noticing. No innovation, no algorithms. But it's open 7 days a week and it's profitable month after month, year after year. This is where the real money hides, not in the shiny objects, not in the flashy logos or venture funding announcements, but in the stuff most people overlook. The businesses that seem too simple, too unexciting, too boring. See, the problem is we've all been sold a very specific version of success. We're taught that if it doesn't look cool on Instagram or sound impressive at a cocktail party, it can't possibly make you rich. But the wealthiest people I know, they don't care if you think what they do is cool. They care if it cash flows. You can keep chasing the next big thing. You can try to be the disruptor, the unicorn, the founder everyone admires, or you can quietly go buy a pest control company that nets $250,000, 0 cents a year, or a landscaping business that's booked out 3 months in advance. You can walk in, optimize a few systems, raise prices 10%, and suddenly you're making what your friends do in 12 months. Every single month. And here's the wild part. Nobody's competing with you for these. Everyone is too busy trying to be the next Zuckerberg to notice that Bob the septic tank guy wants to retire. He's got trucks, customers, profit, no buyers. So he's willing to sell at a discount just to get out. And you're walking in with leverage, buying a business with proven demand, day one revenue, and built-in operations. You're not guessing, you're inheriting. But you know what holds most people back? Ego. They think they're above owning a junk removal company or a mobile car detailing business. They want to be the face of something glamorous, not the owner of something gritty. But ego is expensive and it keeps people broke. Meanwhile, someone with zero prior experience walks in, buys the thing nobody wanted, and is suddenly making $30 0 cents K, $50 0 cents K, even $100 0 cents K a month, while learning on the job, hiring operators, and stacking cash. They don't care if it's glamorous. They care if it pays them every month without asking them to clock in. This is the mindset shift. You stop trying to impress and you start trying to acquire. You stop fantasizing about the next invention and you start obsessing over cash flow. You stop building from scratch and you start buying things that already work. What's more, these businesses are everywhere. Every time you drive through a strip mall or past an industrial park, you're passing a dozen income streams. You just don't see them because you're not trained to look. But once you start, it's like a new filter drops in front of your eyes. You see opportunity in everything. You notice the plumbing business that's booked solid with zero marketing. You see the signage company that's doing $600 0 cents K a year with 2 employees. And you realize this could be you. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You need to own it. You need to buy the wheel factory and get paid every time someone else spins it. Boring is not the enemy. Boring is the blueprint. And the best part, these deals are happening right now. Owners are retiring. Kids don't want to take over. Businesses with cash flow and no succession plan are sitting there like gold mines with no map. But if you're willing to get your hands a little dirty, willing to do what most people won't, you'll find yourself in a position most people only dream about. Owning income. Earning every month what used to take a year, quietly, predictably, and with no need for applause. The only question left is, are you bold enough to be boring? Most people think making more money means doing more hours, more effort, more stress. They've been taught that if they want to earn in a month what they currently make in a year, they have to work like machines, hustling day and night, burning out just to push a little further. That mindset keeps them trapped because the truth is, scaling your income has nothing to do with doing more and everything to do with doing less strategically. It's about learning how to leverage other people's time, other people's skills, and other people's money. That's the unlock. We've been trained to wear doing everything ourselves like a badge of honor. But let me ask you, how many billionaires do you know who mow their own lawns, run their own ad campaigns, or fix their own broken plumbing? None. That's not because they're lazy. It's because they understand leverage. They've realized that their time is better spent directing energy than burning it. And if you want to earn your yearly salary every month, you need to stop asking, how can I do this all? And start asking, who can do this better than me? Leverage isn't a luxury. it's a system. And when you begin building your business or investing with that in mind, everything changes. Let's say you want to buy a local service-based business, maybe a junk removal company, a landscaping crew, or a pool cleaning service. Most people get stuck at step one because they think they need to know how to remove junk, cut lawns, or clean pools. But you don't. You need to know how to find the person who already knows how to do that and who wants to be part of something that scales. The beauty of this approach is that it opens up a different kind of thinking. Instead of learning 10 different trades, you learn one skill. Finding great operators and building teams. That's the highest income skill there is. Because when you find someone who's better than you at doing the job and you build a system around them, you've just multiplied your time. Instead of working 40 hours a week, you now have 40 hours of your time plus their 40 hours, and the results compound. And you can repeat this as many times as you want. And this doesn't just apply to time. The same principle works with money. Most people think they need to save for years before they can buy a business or invest in an asset. But again, that's the slow game. Wealthy people use other people's money through seller financing, small business loans, partners, or creative deal structures. You don't need a pile of cash. You need to know how to structure a deal where everybody wins. The seller gets paid, the bank gets interest, and you get a cash flowing asset. That's leverage. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine buying a boring local business, doing $500 0 cents K in annual revenue. You negotiate seller financing, maybe 10% down, the rest paid over 5 years. You keep the existing team, hire a general manager to run day-to-day, and you spend your time optimizing marketing, trimming expenses, and improving customer retention. Within 6-12 months, you've grown that revenue by 20-30%, and now that business is throwing off $15 0 cents K in monthly profit. You just earned your yearly salary in a month without doing the labor yourself. And it's repeatable. Here's the mindset shift. Stop thinking like a worker, start thinking like a builder. Workers trade time for money. Builders trade systems for scale. When you use leverage, you're not limited by your own capacity. You're powered by everyone you bring into the vision. And that's where wealth lives. Not in hustle, but in multiplication. So next time you're staring at a new opportunity, don't ask, can I do this? That's a small question with a small answer. Instead, ask, who can do this and how do I make them want to be part of it? That's how you stop being the engine and start being the architect. Once you understand that you don't need to know everything or do everything yourself, that you just need to own the system and empower the right people to run it, you stop being stuck. You stop spinning your wheels. You realize that the ceiling you thought you had on your income was never really there. It was just built on the belief that you had to carry it all alone. You don't. You just have to stop thinking like a one-person operation and start thinking like a leveraged machine. That's when earning your yearly salary every month doesn't just become possible, it becomes inevitable. Most people are losing money simply because they don't understand the game they're playing. They think hard work alone gets you ahead. That if you keep grinding, keep clocking in, keep showing up earlier than everyone else, somehow that magic paycheck will double, triple, explode. But here's the truth no one told you. Money doesn't care how hard you work. It flows toward leverage, efficiency, and arbitrage. And the people earning in a month what you make in a year, they aren't smarter than you. They've just learned to play a different game, a game called arbitrage. Let's break that down because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Arbitrage is the art of exploiting a difference in value between markets. Fancy word, simple idea. Buy low, sell high. But we're not just talking about buying cheap stuff and selling it for more. We're talking about seeing value where others don't. We're talking about time arbitrage, knowledge arbitrage, labor arbitrage, and even geographic arbitrage. It's spotting a business that's undervalued because the owner is tired, outdated, or just doesn't know how to optimize operations. You walk in, not with a wrench or a hammer, but with systems, structure, and vision. You cut costs, automate inefficiencies, replace legacy tools with software, maybe even renegotiate vendor contracts. Suddenly, the profit margin jumps from 10% to 30%, and the same exact business, same customers, same products, is now worth 3x what you paid for it. That's arbitrage. Or maybe you're playing a different kind. Let's say you live in a high-cost city, but you realize you can buy an asset, a car wash, a small cleaning service, a vending machine route in a lower cost market where competition is lower, labor is cheaper, and margins are fatter. That's geographic arbitrage. You're leveraging the imbalance between places to create profit. Or maybe you're not even the one running it. Maybe you found an operator on the ground, someone hungry and local who knows the landscape, and you're just providing the capital and the strategy. That's labor and time arbitrage. Here's where it gets interesting. Once you start seeing the world through this lens, you realize opportunities are everywhere. That tired landscaping company in your neighborhood, it's got contracts, trucks, a crew, but zero digital presence, no CRM, no scheduling system. You buy it at a fair price, plug in technology, boost its lead generation with local SEO, cross-sell to existing clients, and boom. It's not just a landscaping business anymore. It's a scalable, repeatable system. You're no longer earning a salary. You're printing money through execution arbitrage. And the best part? You didn't invent anything new. You didn't take a massive risk on some unproven tech idea. You didn't wait around for venture capital or go viral on social media. You just found something that already worked, made it better, and captured the difference. This is how real wealth is built, not in chaos or luck, but in calm, strategic moves. It's why boring businesses outperform flashy startups in the long run. It's why someone who buys a junk removal company and franchises it out is earning consistent six-figure months while others are still pitching their next big app. We need to stop glamorizing complexity. The more complex the model, the harder it is to scale. But arbitrage thrives on simplicity. It's a set of repeatable decisions that compound over time. Once you've done it once, you start stacking, you roll profits from one business into the next, you hire better operators, you build playbooks. You don't need to do 10 different things. You need to do one thing 10 times better than the last person did it. Now let's talk mindset, because this part is critical. Most people hear all this and say, but I don't know how to run a business. Guess what? Neither did the guy who built the one you're about to buy. He learned on the job. He figured it out. You will too. But your advantage is you're stepping in with fresh eyes, better tools, and a mindset of optimization, not survival. You're not there to keep things afloat. You're there to grow, multiply, and scale. If you keep chasing income like an employee, you'll always be one step behind. But if you start looking at the world through the eyes of a capitalist, if you train yourself to see arbitrage, to hunt value, to multiply instead of add, you'll realize something profound. Earning your yearly salary every month isn't a fantasy, it's just math. And math, unlike emotions, doesn't lie. Most people walk through life completely blind to the money flowing all around them. They go to the same coffee shop every morning, pay the same bill at the same restaurant, go to the same barber, and never once pause to ask, who's making the money here? What's their margin? What would it cost to own a slice of this? Instead, they just consume, swipe, leave, repeat. But those who shift their lens, who become obsessively curious about money, start to see a different world entirely. You start to notice things most people overlook. You begin asking better questions. Who owns this place? How many clients do they serve a day? What are their peak hours? Are they booked out for weeks, or are they slow on weekdays? Is this a franchise or a family business? Is there a wait list? Why are they still cash only? And suddenly, you realize this isn't just a burrito spot. It's a cash machine. You realize your $12.00 lunch is paying someone's mortgage, not just feeding your cravings. Curiosity is the gateway drug to wealth, but it's not the soft kind of curiosity that says, oh, that's interesting. It's the kind that won't let go until you have the answer. The kind that turns every outing into a research trip. The kind that has you running back of the numbers while waiting for your car to get detailed. You don't need to start with spreadsheets or pitch decks. Start with questions. Real, simple questions that lead to better insight. We're trained to think money lives in hard places, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, private equity firms. But the truth is money flows in plain sight, in places so obvious we overlook them. It's in the guy who owns 10 vending machines at local gyms. It's in the woman who bought a pet grooming business and doubled the revenue by adding mobile service. It's in the couple who took over a car wash and installed a payment kiosk to replace manual labor. None of these are flashy, but they all understood the game. Watch where the money goes, then put yourself in the way of it. Being obsessively curious doesn't mean you need to become a business analyst overnight. It means next time you're at your favorite nail salon, you ask yourself, how many people work here? How many clients do they serve per day? What's the average price per customer? Multiply that. Now subtract rent, payroll, supplies. That's not a business idea. That's a real P&L disguised as a casual outing. Do this often enough and patterns begin to emerge. You start seeing what's profitable, what's broken, what's missing. That's where opportunity hides. And once you find a spot where money is leaking, you have a decision to make. You can either stay a passive observer or become a participant. Because if you can spot inefficiencies, you can fix them. If you can identify demand, you can supply it. If you know who's making the money, you can go talk to them. Ask to invest, ask to learn, ask to acquire. People are so afraid to ask, and yet asking is how you get access. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to be genuinely interested and bold enough to speak up. I always say, never leave a place without understanding who's getting rich off it. If you walk into a boutique fitness studio that's booked solid at $30, 0 cents a session, you should be curious. If you see a dirty, outdated laundromat that still has customers lined up every Saturday, you should be curious. Curiosity leads to conversations. Conversations lead to numbers. Numbers lead to decisions. That's how deals begin, not with a business broker or a conference call, but with a question asked in the real world. You don't need more education or connections to start seeing these opportunities. You just need to start paying attention. Start being the person who asks why, who wonders how, who digs a little deeper. Every dollar you spend is a breadcrumb. Follow it. Where did it come from? Who benefits? Could you be that person? This kind of awareness compounds. It changes how you think, how you spend, and eventually how you earn. When you train your brain to see money everywhere, money starts to find you. The opportunities were always there. You were just too distracted to notice. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the moment everything changes. You don't need $1 million idea. You need one simple, boring, cash flowing idea and the guts to do it over and over again. That's where most people mess up. They think wealth is a jackpot, some unicorn business idea no one's ever thought of before. So they jump from project to project, constantly trying to reinvent the wheel, hoping the next thing is finally it. But the truth is, the people who are making serious money every month, money that replaces a full-time salary and then some, aren't chasing novelty. They're repeating what works. What I've seen again and again is this. Wealth isn't about brilliance. It's about discipline. It's about being able to stomach the boring stuff long enough to reap the not so boring results. And it's about resisting the temptation to chase something shinier when you've already got something that works. Let me break this down in a way that's painfully simple. If you find a small, unsexy business that cash flows $5,000, 0 cents a month, something like a vending machine route, a trash bin cleaning business, or a parking lot striping service, most people would dismiss it. It's too small, they'll say. It's not exciting. But if you take that same business model and repeat it 3 times, now you've got $15,000, 0 cents a month. That's $180,000, 0 cents a year for something predictable, something boring, something you can eventually outsource. And if you keep going and stacking insteads and starting over, you start earning in a month what most people work an entire year to see. The best part? You didn't have to invent anything. You just had to repeat what already worked. This is how real wealth is built, not in explosive, dramatic moves, but in stacking predictable wins. Boring cash flow compounds into freedom, but we're conditioned to believe that if something is simple or replicable, it must not be valuable. That's a lie. The stuff that works, boring, proven, repeatable, is often overlooked because it doesn't feed our ego. It doesn't make you look cool on social media, but it does pay the bills, and eventually it pays for the life you want. Repetition is powerful. When you find something that produces consistent cash flow, the smartest thing you can do is double down. People always ask me, what's next? I say more of what works. That's not being complacent. That's being strategic. I'm not in the business of reinventing myself every 6 months. I'm in the business of scaling boring profits. Let's talk about predictability for a second. Because when you have something repeatable, you can build infrastructure around it. You can automate it, you can delegate it, you can turn it into a machine that spits out income while you sleep. But you can't build infrastructure around chaos. And that's what most people are chasing, chaos disguised as the next big thing. Give me boring predictability any day. That's what buys time, optionality, and peace of mind. Now here's the part that takes guts. You have to be okay being underestimated. When you're stacking ATM routes or pressure washing driveways, no one's going to call you a genius. But you're going to be the one with five-figure months while they're still stuck trading time for a paycheck. This is the silent power of doing what others won't because they think they're above it. Ego is expensive. Boring pays. I want you to think about what would change in your life if your current annual income became your monthly baseline. Imagine the freedom that buys you. Imagine the stress it erases. That life isn't reserved for the ultra-talented or the hyper-connected. It's available to anyone willing to do the unsexy work consistently and with focus. You don't need a new strategy every quarter. You need one good strategy applied with relentless execution. So stop searching for the next big thing and start building the next boring thing that works. Stack boring, systemize boring, scale boring. Because when you do that long enough, boring becomes beautiful. And suddenly you're not chasing money anymore. It's showing up on autopilot every month, like clockwork. That's how you earn your yearly salary every month, not through brilliance, through boring, relentless repetition.